What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I'm your host, Reckless Rexx Ruger, your bastard of ceremonies. That, if you couldn't tell by the enormous front teeth, is, of course, my sidekick, watching my back, the Freddie Mercury puppet. This, as I said, is another killer episode of Pod Scum. And as I said, I'm your host, Reckless Rexx Ruger, a.k.a., and this part's important, Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. You know it. I know it. In 2025, we're all going to know it through conclusive DNA testing. We're going to prove once and for all what we've all known all along, that you were looking at the son of glam, the front man for the band, adored by millions of fans, the peanut butter to your jam. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Mr. Wop, Bopaloo, Bop, Wop, bam, bam, shazam, hot damn. Glad I got that out of my system, folks. You may have detected a little bit of strain in my voice. I was battling the flu last week. I'm going to try to soldier on and muscle my way through this interview. Voice be damned. It may give out on me. Thankfully, tonight's guest is a vocalist. He might have to use said vocals. He might have to carry the whole goddamn thing for all I know. But I'm going to try to muscle my way through it. As I said, man, it might not be easy. Of course, you know, nothing gets edited. So when you see me talking to my guests or doing anything, it's not, you know, facing the screen. That's not getting edited out. 52 years old, just had a birthday. Cannot be bothered with editing. Life is being recorded for posterity's sake. We're not going to go around and fuck around with that. You just don't do it. That being said, let me also go into obligatory promotional mode. You got to do it, folks. Pod Scum is no different. Like and follow us on Facebook. That's where you'll find your updates on newly released episodes and who will be on said episodes. Besides myself, which, as we all know, I really am all the entertainment that you should need, but great guests, check. We're going to have them here. Also, make sure if you're on this channel right now, congrats. Welcome to the party, folks. Make sure to like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell to stay tapped in to amazing conversations with legendary guests from the music and entertainment world, man. We're providing that. Another big check. Before my guest gets in here, let me also say that checking the analytics, I want to thank all my viewers and or subscribers because the channel continues to grow in all facets, all the analytical categories. So I thank all my fiercely loyal subscribers. We might not be the multitude. I might not have the multitude of subscribers that other channels have, but we are growing, and we are growing the right way, organically. The amount of watch hours, the viewers, the subscribers, it's always trending upward. And I check these on a month-to-month basis because that's, if you are familiar with podcasting, that's how the statistics, the analytics are presented to you on a month-by-month basis. They track your progress and they show you. And, I'm happy to report that it is always going upwards. And it has been for quite some time. So big thank you to you guys out there that watch and support the channel, man. I'm extremely happy. I'm extremely proud. And my guest is here now, so I'm going to shut the fuck up and we're going to get down to it. Let's do it. Shit, enough about me already. And where is he? Kurt, how are you, man?
Hey, what's shaking?
Listen, I was just telling my my viewers in the little preamble before you got in here that just got over the flu last week. The voice is still a little strained, but I said, hey, the show must go on.
Fuck yeah.
The show must go on. The show must go on. The show must go on. And I also said, thankfully, folks, we're having a vocalist in here tonight. So if he's got to carry the whole goddamn thing, we might just come to that.
Sure.
And listen, it's a pleasure to meet you. First and foremost, I've been a fan forever, man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very nice to meet you, man. And first of all, I got to ask you, man. You guys have been doing this for so long, but I saw you were recently out on your 40-year anniversary tour, man, and it went for quite a long time. As somebody that's done this for a long time, do you still enjoy that part of the business? Because it is kind of like you get to a certain point in life. I know I'm 52 years old. where you hate to tear yourself away from your creature comforts, you know what I mean? Like your home, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. You do kind of live like a nomad out there, kind of. Do you still like that part of the business?
Well, for us, that's the only part of the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not making records or anything. So
right, right.
So no, we love it.
Yeah. When you get out there on the road and you see the rabid response, like from the fans, pretty startling, right? Considering you just made the point that you guys aren't still putting out records.
Yeah, completely. I don't understand it, but at the same time, I love it. So
yeah,
whatever. It's cool. We're one of the only bands I could think of that's really kind of doing what we do and not putting out albums, but seems to still get better year after year as far as the shows and attendance.
But for fans that might be curious, though, and again, people that are hardcore fans of the band, I'm sure probably know the answer to this. You may even be on record, or other guys in the band is saying this. But is there ever a chance of new D.R.I. music, or is that completely been put to bed?
Well, remember we put a 7-inch out just to kind of test the waters a while back. I don't think it went over super well, so I don't know. Up to our record company, I guess.
Yeah.
There's nobody knocking our doors down and be like, "Hey, man, we'll give you money,"
Yeah, I know.
To survive for a while, you don't have to go on tour or anything. You just put out an album, write some songs. And that's how we used to do it.
Right.
Metal Blade would give us, some money to where we didn't have to go on tour for a while, and we'd go to the studio every day like a normal band and write songs and put out the album, and then we'd hit the road again when the album came out. But the money dried up, so,
And so what's your assessment of where the music industry is right now? Because obviously you guys put out your last album, 1995. So much has changed as far as the industry goes. Now we're you don't see the physical product is not as prevalent anymore. People are streaming. They're not consuming music the way they used to, dropping a needle and listening to an album all the way through. It's kind of a track world nowadays. People pick their favorite track off an album or whatever. Their favorite couple of tracks or whatever. First of all, let me ask you, how do you consume music? Are you a physical product guy, or are you a streamer?
Streamer now.
Yeah, you kind of have to go that way, right?
Well, I mean, like everybody, you're on your phone a lot, and then all of a sudden you think about like, oh, that Pentagram or whatever, what was that song? And you look it up, and you can watch it on YouTube and listen to it on YouTube and stuff, and it's just quicker. Than having to go to a record store and try to find it and all that. It's just like, boom, instant for free, Well,
I don't know what your record stores are like down there, man, but like, all the chain ones, I'm in upstate New York, man, but the chain ones all seem to have really diminished the actual albums. And it seems to be more like novelty toy stores nowadays.
Strange.
I have an FYE. I have an FYE up here. You know what I mean? In our mall, there's an FYE. I suppose there's little mom and pop record stores around, man, but they're getting hard to find up here too.
Well, I'll tell you this: on tour, I sell vinyl and I sell, 7-inch, 12-inch, and I sell CDs, and they all sell really well.
Good.
So,
yeah.
So if people can't find them in the store, it's fine for us because I'd rather be just having them cut out the middleman.
Sure.
Some of the middlemen. And sell it and actually get some money from it rather than, a few pennies for a download or something like that.
Now, I think people would probably be interested in where it started for you, man. Was there a specific album or an artist or a song that early on that really got its hooks in you, that lit the fire for you to want to do music?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Black Sabbath was probably the first heavy metal album I heard.
Yeah.
And as a young teenager, that was awesome. So from there, it just branched out. But I didn't really get serious about thinking about being in a band until I heard hardcore music,
right?
Punk rock and stuff, and it just seemed more attainable for me, and aligned lyrically with my thoughts as well. Yeah, more than just a regular like Led Zeppelin or something like that. Normal rock songs. I mean, they, a lot of it's just talking about girls and stuff. And
right. What was the first punk hardcore stuff that was really hitting home for you?
LA bands, TSOL.
Yeah.
Circle Jerks, Black Flag, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Adolescence and everything. And it just branched out from there. And I still love that music. Every time we start our tour down usually in LA or San Diego and work our way up to Seattle and Spokane and all that 3-week tour. And all the bands opening for us is just like heaven for me.
Yeah, I bet.
It's like they're bands that they're not those bands like the Adolescents, whatever, but they have that LA hardcore kind of I don't know, pop punk sound or something. That's just that I like a lot. So
and now you being a front man, is there anybody out there that you would say like other frontmen who have had the biggest influence on you and like in your kind of how you formed as a front man?
Yeah, I mean, when we started out, I was looking at people like Nikki Sickie from Verbal Abuse, Dave Dichter from MDC. They were Houston bands, we were Houston bands, so we started here, started playing local shows, and those were the ones that were more attractive to me. Like, all right, this is great, and Henry Rollins, of course, bands that were coming through, Ian McKay and stuff like that. Just the wearing normal clothes.
Yeah,
part of it, not having to dress up and everything. They just looked like they got their clothes from a thrift store and stuff. So I was just like, all right, I could get aboard with this, and I still don't spend money on any kind of a uniform or anything like that. I got a D.R.I hat, I just take that from the bunch that I'm selling, and when it gets too fucked up, I just get another one.
Keep it simple, So I'm interested in your listening trends from a fan standpoint. Like when you're going to putter around the house or you're doing shit and you're going to listen to music, for your own personal enjoyment. Are you one of those guys that kind of falls back on the stuff that you've always liked, or are you able to find like new bands or stuff that excites you?
Newer, I would say, I do, but I also go back even like further before I was born and stuff. I like stuff like that. I actually listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm puttering around, as you say. I have a big garden and stuff, and I'm always busy. So I'm usually listening to podcasts, but we have a poker game at my house every Saturday night, and I have a playlist or whatever that I'm always adding to and everything, and I reach back and put stuff in there. My latest thing is popular covers that most people think it's just their song or whatever, but it's actually a cover song.
Right.
So I'll play the cover, and then I'll play the one that that most people know. And so I started doing that. It's just interesting.
I find that an interesting playlist, man. Maybe you could shed some light on this, man. Like, what's a fun fact, man? Like, what's a song that commonly gets perceived that it belongs to somebody else, but it's a cover?
Okay, I would let me think. Well, Dazed and Confused from Led Zeppelin.
Yep.
A lot of people don't know that it was already a song by another band. So yeah, that one. And let's see what else. There was a Canned Heat song, going down the country or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but it was a cover song, and they admitted to it and everything. So there's the original one, an old blues song or something. Yeah. So just stuff like that. Ghost, the band Ghost. Yeah. They have that song. They have a bunch of covers, but I like the one from 13th Floor Elevators. If You Have Ghosts. Yeah. Yeah. That was cool. I play the original one from, and then play the Ghost one. And so even people don't like Ghosts, they might like the first one.
And so these are pretty obscure songs too, man, that people probably don't even know that there's even two versions of them. Some of them.
I tell them before I play it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I play my shit. It might be like Discharge's first whole album, and then it might go into a TSOL, EP or something, and then some Adolescents, it'll go back and forth. Some old country stuff in there, and just whatever. Laurie Anderson, have you ever heard any of her stuff? She's awesome. Superman. Yeah. Play that for them just to irritate them, and because it's just kind of a irritating song for a lot of people, and we're playing poker, so anything to get them off their game.
Absolutely.
Anything to make them quit thinking about what their plan to beat you and take your money, and get them thinking like, oh, what this fucking song is it's killing me or whatever. It's
So
honk,
that's
honk, honk, honk. Yeah.
So that's the way to host a big poker game at your house. We're learning a lot from Kurt Brecht here today, man. You get them into your house, you fuck them up with fucking music, and you take their money.
Correct. Try to.
Wow.
Doesn't always work out that way, but yeah, any advantage I can have.
And are these like, and I mean, I don't want to say high stakes because you could certainly go to the casino and or the World Series of Poker and see high stakes, man. But like, what are these poker games like typically like? Like, what do you lose, or stand to lose in a typical night?
Yeah, the most people lose around here is probably about $60 in a night.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
And same with as much as you win. My buddy said I took 180 off him the other night. I think it was more like 110, but whatever.
And I think a lot of people would like to know, back in the day when you guys were making those amazing D.R.I albums, what was the creative process like? If you can think back to when those albums were being created, when you guys got around together and created, was someone coming in with a lot of the material or the lion's share of the stuff, or were you guys very collaborative as a band?
Depends on the album, but Spike would write usually most of the music, but we allowed the bass players, of course, to have their songs.
Right.
As long as they didn't try to take over the whole album or something,
Yeah.
And some of our best songs were written by the bass players, and sometimes just the music, sometimes just the words and the music. And we don't usually, I don't think we were putting on the album like who wrote this song and that song like other bands do. But yeah, we approached it every possible way you could think of. I'd say, like, sometimes Spike would write the music first and then give it to me, and I would send him the lyrics and I'm say, hey man, this fits perfect, and he would like it and it was good. Other times I give him the lyrics and he'd write the music to that, and some, everything in between there as well. So we tried it all.
And now, where do you stand on your opinion of, because you guys get a lot of credit, and not solely you guys, but you guys are always mentioned in terms of being pioneers in that, for lack of a better word, crossover sound. I see Corrosion of Conformity, Suicidal Tendencies, and you guys. It's kind of a revolving door of like, who came first, and kind of segueing from punk hardcore into the thrash world, or kind of fusing those two worlds together. But my question is, when you guys started to embark on that changeover, was it kind of just an organic, natural thing, or was it deliberate? And like, were you guys worried that there would be some pushback going from more hardcore to more thrash?
There was pushback, so it wasn't like we had to worry about it. It was just there.
Okay.
But what we were actually worried about was getting, we were kind of pigeonholed as the fastest band in the world and all that.
Right.
And we didn't want to have that be everything in our lives and all that, like where we have to keep playing that fast and play faster than everybody else and all that. We liked playing fast, but we liked the slow stuff too. I mean, bands like SOD were coming out, the slow, heavy mosh songs and everything. We loved that. So yeah, and plus we grew up on metal and heavy metal and Black Sabbath and shit. And Spike loves the Ramones, and it's just, we had all these different influences. So we just started adding them in. And I'd say Nursing Home Blues might've been the first one that was kind of like slowed down. And, we still play it. It's still a popular song. But yeah, we got a little bit of pushback in the beginning for sure. Some nasty letters back when you had to send a letter.
Yeah.
You couldn't just cancel somebody online.
Right.
You'd have to mail them a nasty letter and say, hey, you're you'll never, once you leave punk rock, where if you try to come back, we're not going to accept you back and stuff like that. Or some people even said we ruined punk rock forever.
Boy, that's harsh.
Yeah. I didn't believe it. I'm like, okay, you can still, we like punk and hardcore and everything. You can still have crossover. It's not like, because, well, it's like a social phenomenon. There used to be, the punks didn't hang out with the metalheads. I mean, it was a different deal. It was a different thing for the most part. And for us, when we first crossed over, it was violent for years. It was just, I mean, you don't even have any idea. It was like we could barely even get through a song without there being fights, and we'd have to stop every time because there'd be, skinheads, punks, and metalheads all showing up at a show for the first time ever. and they fucking hated each other, apparently, even though they should have united around us, that they all
absolutely
liked us.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
And
instead, a lot of people just thought of it as a good, I don't know. The metalheads probably never seen thrashing before. I don't know what was going on, but all I know is it was very violent and very annoying for a long time. You couldn't even get through a fucking song. You'd have to say, if you don't stop, we're not going to play
we're
anymore and
done.
all that.
Yeah.
And then we'd start playing, and it'd be like, big fighting. Just it was madness. Plus the stage diving and all that, and the venues. I mean, all of a sudden we're being invited into these heavy metal venues that were super nice and had never
Right.
seen stage diving and all that. And all of a sudden people are getting their necks broken and all this shit's going on and fights everywhere and blood all over the place. And we were afraid, of course, that they wouldn't invite us back there again to those nice places.
And was the music that you guys were creating or the lyrics you were writing, man, like what was the first like step towards that crossover sound? Did you guys just get together and start playing and just, did the music and the stuff that you guys were writing just, did that kind of dictate the change?
Well, I think we were writing crossover without thinking about the name crossover.
Yeah.
It was some band that we knew that was in the same studios, rehearsal studio as us. And I can't remember the name of the band now, but I know it was a bunch of women and they had gone to Europe. And I'm like, what? Y'all went to Europe and everything? Because we'd never been there, And they're like, yeah. And they go, hey, you guys are pretty popular over there. And I'm like, really? And they go, yeah. They said, you guys are like crossover. And I'm like, what does that mean? And, crossover music, it's like kind of punk, kind of metal and everything. So then I talked the band into calling the album Crossover and getting the kind of slick looking chrome skanker and everything, kind of heavy metal chrome and everything instead of just the normal punk rock album cover like we had before. And that's how we got, Metal Blade was dealing with it was on Death Records, I think. Yeah. I think Crossover came out on Metal Blade that was our first Metal Blade album, if I remember correctly.
And now you guys' logo, I'm glad you mentioned it because it is so iconic, man. Where does that come from? The actual logo. Did one of the band members draw that? Did you guys see it somewhere? It is so simple, but yet it is so iconic.
My brother was the drummer, original drummer, Eric. He quit after a couple of years, but we were in art school together.
Okay.
When the band started, we were going to commercial art school to be like commercial designers, and that was just one of the projects that we had was to do something in signage.
Okay.
Like a crosswalk sign, a sign.
Yeah.
It's called signage or whatever. So I did one of like boxing. It was like a boxing ring or something where it looked like some boxing or a ring with some boxing gloves. And it was stupid, but his was that, and it originally had a mohawk on it, and that was it. So we just took the mohawk off and just left it as it was, and that was it. We were so stupid that we didn't even think of using it as our band logo. We were just going to use it as our record company logo, Dirty Rotten Records. So yeah, it wasn't until later somebody bootlegged one or something and put it on a shirt, the front of a shirt, and then that's probably how it started.
And then what about the band name? Because I think a lot of people, yes, they shorten it. They call you guys D.R.I. But for people that don't know, written out long, Dirty Rotten Imbeciles, which certainly will raise some eyebrows. I mean, a band that's going to call themselves the Dirty Rotten Imbeciles. But where does that come from? And obviously, it's very tongue in cheek. It's hilarious. It's memorable. It's one of the great all-time fucking names, man. It's obviously
most of the listeners probably already know all these stories, so I don't know. I'll say it anyway.
But the good part is it's very self-effacing too. You know what I mean? It goes to show that you guys, there's serious messages in your music, but you're not taking yourselves too seriously, man. Look
at the names of all the punk bands. I mean, look at the names of all the punk bands back then.
I know. Yeah.
It was. And back then you couldn't really search to see if that had been used.
Right.
The only way you would know if that name had been used was if you had seen the record in the store. Maybe you could ask some friends, and that's about it.
Or you're getting
Maximum Rock and Roll magazine. If it hadn't been in there.
Or you're getting a cease and desist letter.
Right. No, but we practiced at my parents' house where I lived when I was going to art school, and my brother too. So we practiced there every day for like a year, 6 days a week for about a year. And my dad was just sick of it, because he would come home from work every day. And that's right when we started. Like right when he got home, we had already probably started a little bit before that. But he said it just sounded like hell coming out of that room. And he would call us names, and that was just one of the names. He'd be like red-faced, angry as fuck, pounding on the door. And he's like, I come home from work, like fucking tired of this shit. It sounds like hell, you dirty, rotten imbeciles, you fucking morons. And he would so we were thinking about, you stupid morons was one name, and dirty, rotten imbeciles. And it was us for a while. It was us, dirty, rotten imbeciles. So then we just dropped the us after, I don't know, some months. But you see some of our old flyers, it says us, D.R.I.
And so your dad is credited with the name, more or less. Wow, that's pretty cool. And obviously, I probably don't need to ask this, but he's obviously aware that he named the band.
He's deceased, but yes, he was aware, and he would laugh about it. He would laugh about it later, and he would say, "Where's my money?" Stuff like that. Because we have a song called Madman.
Yes,
and he's in the song. I mean, he interrupted our practice, and while we were recording, and like one of those times, and his tirade, and Spike was hiding behind the door with his guitar, and he's like, "Who's this guy?" And I'm like, "That's Spike, our guitar player." And so we just kept that in the song, added it to the song or whatever to make it more legit. But yeah, he wanted some money from it, but he never got any.
And now, I know you guys haven't made an album in a long, long time, but when you look at today's music industry, and let's say hypothetically, if D.R.I. were to make a musical project right now, with attention spans, like what they are now, and as I said, the way people consume music being so different now, is it still make sense to put out an LP, or is it an EP world nowadays, or maybe even a singles world? I don't know.
Yeah, the singles thing probably maybe, but yeah, the EP didn't work out too good. I mean, we still sell them at the show, and they came out with like 6 or 8 different colors of vinyl and all that. Yeah, you got to do that kind of stuff, I guess, to sell that shit. But like I said, they still sell and everything. But yeah, we could come out with another. I would rather do a whole LP. I never really liked the whole process of the songwriting, and especially the studio. Boring as fuck for me. I'd be sitting there waiting for, staying in a hotel for a week or two while they're cutting all their tracks.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, okay, we're ready for you now. And I haven't even rehearsed in 2 weeks, and I've just been laying around in a hotel room watching cartoons, drinking beer and stuff. And then all of a sudden I'm in the studio, and then they're in some killer studio, and they take me out in the valley somewhere in LA and into someone's house. And I'm recording in their bathroom, or like their hallway to the bathroom or something. And it's a killer sound though. This is the good deal and everything. they could be right, but I'm just saying I'm not one of those people that loves the studio.
And so
I like live, played and all that stuff.
And so do you look back on your career though, and obviously you're a humble guy. I don't expect you to do a lot of, bragging on here, but are you able to look at your place in the lineage of punk hardcore and thrash and being a pioneer in that quote unquote crossover sound? I mean, you certainly must be aware that you're in the conversation or whatever, and that you more or less spawned a genre.
No, that's hilarious that you said that, because recently I've been thinking about that sort of thing, and I do understand where we stand and all that, especially because we play all these festivals,
right?
And so they've got you ranked. You know what I mean? So I'm totally understand it all, totally comfortable with it, and also I try, like, before I go on stage, I kind of think about it for a minute. And I try to convince myself that we are the best band. And I know we're not the best band in the world or anything like that. But if you can convince yourself just for a few minutes, you know what I mean, before you go on stage, that you have something special, like you're different, not the best, different than everybody else, that you're different than everybody else, and you're about to go out there and show them that. And they're about to witness something completely different,
Right.
It's not suicidal tendencies. It's not Slayer. It's not fucking this or that or whatever. It's D.R.I. and everybody there already loves you. And you know, at the show, it's not like a bunch of haters or anything throwing shit at you and saying "fuck you" or anything. They've already paid to come in and see you and all that stuff, and they already love you. So it's just I just convinced myself for a few minutes that yeah, we're the fucking best, you know. And
well, I would have to say that in that lineage, and the band Excel is another band. I certainly want to put them in there too. But you know, Corrosion Conformity has almost gone the other way, and I love what they do, man. But they've almost gone a little more like doom metal, a little more Black Sabbathy sounding. And Suicidal Tendencies, as much as I love them, I'm going to see them in a couple of months or whatever. Love what they do, man. But I think they took it even more thrash, though. You guys, I think, were the ones who were really able to really toe the line like the best.
Yeah, and the reason that I know I understand what you're saying is because, like, compared to other bands, okay, there was a year recently where in 1 year we headlined Punk Rock Bowling, which is a punk rock festival.
Sure. Yep.
We headlined what was it called? It's a grindcore festival. What's that one called in Czechoslovakia? I can't remember what's called. Anyway, it's a grindcore festival. We headlined that in Czechoslovakia. Flew out there for one show. Just came home, and then we also headlined the death metal Maryland Death Fest. I think it was. So, and then some other thing too, I can't remember, but it was like 4 or 5 in one. It's like Slayer wouldn't be able to play Punk Rock Bowling, you know, and Suicidal Tendencies wouldn't be able to do grindcore festival possibly. So it's like we have the best of all worlds, and we just kind of fell into it. People think, you had the first grindcore beat and all that, and you guys are thrash or you guys are metal or whatever. If you want to, you know, if they want to have us headline a metal fest, that's fine. And now we're about to we're about to play a festival in Houston, which has been going on for a while. Hell's Heroes.
Okay.
But we've never played here because we play Houston every year anyway. So we didn't want to interrupt that because our show in Houston's awesome every year. We didn't want to play the other one and then I was worried because we just played the Houston show and I was worried nobody's going to show up because I'll just see them at Hell's Heroes. But it was sold out in Houston anyway. So my worries had no reason to be worried, I guess. But I'm excited about playing that Hell's Heroes festival. And we're not the headliner. I can't remember. I think Saxon's headlining that day. But I'm going to see if the guys in the band are going to come here a couple days early, and we're going to practice a couple days, and then we play Hell's Heroes. And I think we take a day off, and then we're going to practice a couple more days, and then we start our world tour for 2025 right after that.
And what was the scene like in Houston, like when you are in the Texas area when you guys started out? Because I think, you know, you mentioned the Los Angeles bands, Black Flag, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, I'm here in upstate New York. You know, there's an amazing New York hardcore scene. I don't have to tell you that. But what was the scene like for that type of music when you guys started out in Houston? Like, were there other like-minded bands, or were you guys it at that time?
No, there was definitely other hardcore bands. We were just emulating basically the bands that we liked that were coming through and all that stuff. I saw the Misfits come through. That 1 year was just like 82, like the summer of 82 or something. It was like Minor Threat came through, Black Flag came through. It was like everybody, TSOL came through, Misfits came through, all playing at the same bar where we used to play. It was just amazing, you know, that all those bands were on tour at that time. And the Bad Brains too. Everybody came through during that one short time. And we, you know, people were telling us after a while, man, you guys need to go to California. You know, your music would do better there. Like we're already burned out in Houston, opening for bands that come through, and then also playing our own shows whenever we could. There'd be like 5 people there, you know. People like, oh man, I wish I could have seen you guys back in the day. And I sent them a picture of what it was like back in the day. One girl standing there in the front, you know, and a couple other people playing pool in the back, you know. But that's how you cut your teeth, you know, and get out there and just play your songs and see how, you know, over the years you just get better at listening on stage and being able to hear each other and all the different problems that you can have on stage and all that stuff. And we've just gotten used to being able to persevere over all that kind of bullshit and everything. And I see, it's funny because I see big bands now, I'm not going to name any names, but complaining about how it's too hard to go on tour now. Like they have to cancel their European tour and stuff.
Yeah.
Because the buses cost more, the roadies cost more, all this stuff costs more. We already figured that out a long time ago. We had to cut the fat back in the 90s when grunge became real popular, and all of a sudden we were shit. Nobody cared about us anymore, and we had to slowly cut the fat. It's like, well, now we could just bring one stack instead of two Marshall stacks.
Right.
And then pretty soon it's just only the heads but no cabinets. And we'll use the cabinets from the opening band or something. And now we don't have any heads, any cabinets, just the guitars. We just play on the opening band stuff, and that's it. We just had to cut the fat all the way down. It's the only way we can make it.
Now, what about as a vocalist yourself? How has your voice held up over the years? And are you somebody that ascribes to any type of voice care? Like sometimes there's guys that can just get up on stage, they don't need to warm up, and they're blessed.
That's me.
That's you.
But, yeah. But I will lose my voice now and then, but it's always because of a sudden illness. Like if all of a sudden, like I'm singing and all of a sudden I just lose my voice. Like, what the fuck happened? And the next day I realize I have the flu.
Yeah.
It hit there first before it hit my head or something.
Right.
And then there was a year ago or something where I went up to Chicago to play in the Midwest, and I woke up and it felt like a boil in my throat, man. It was bad. And I couldn't talk or anything. And I had to have other people sing. We didn't cancel any shows. And I'd looked it up and everything, and it said, like, for what I had, probably looked online, it said it takes about 10 or 11 days. And that's what I had. That's the whole tour was like 11 more days.
Yeah.
And we did 7 when my throat went bad, we had to do 7 shows in a row after that. And it was a sold out show in Chicago. And I told Spike, I'm like, I'll get out there. I can tell you it's not going to be good, but I'll get out there and I'll try. And I had 2 guys waiting in the wings, One guy just knew where the words go, but he didn't know the words. And then the other guy knew the words, but he wasn't too sure where they go. And there was some other dude too. They did fine. So they saved my ass. I just went back, sold t-shirts, sell merch with the band. So I just went back there, and people were very forgiving. Next time we came back like 6 months later, and killer show, and everything was fine.
And now you and Spike are the last 2 guys standing, I should say, the last 2 original members. Do you find it tough now when you go out on tours, man? Do you have guys, other than you and Spike, do you have a pretty solid core lineup right now, man? Or
right now, yeah. We go through all different ones. They could be good for different reasons.
Right.
For different reasons. You can have a real good player that's not a good person, or it's just not going to stick with the band, or you're worried, that they're not going to make it or to the show or stuff like that. But right now everybody's serious and excited about touring, and everything's fine. We're already, I remembered the whole Hell's Heroes things. We're only playing songs from Dealing With It and Thrash Zone.
Oh, people will love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So for some reason they wanted that. And I think that helps us to where it won't hurt the actual show that we did a couple months ago. So, that's why they're coming here early to practice, because usually we don't even rehearse. We just rehearse separately at our own houses, and then we just show up and play, and then everybody's fucking professional, and it's fine.
I'm glad you brought up the Thrash Zone album, though. Before you make your point there, though, man, the Thrash Zone album. I mean, you were talking about getting some pushback before, man, and like some criticism for it, man. Then you come out with an album actually named Thrash Zone, man. Like, was that like the pinnacle of the pushback right there? Because you're more or less saying, here we are, man. We're really committed to infusing thrash into our music.
No, the punks didn't like thrash. They just wanted the punk. Thrash was just like metal to them. They didn't. Yeah. No, it wasn't about that at all. It was just an idea that I had. So.
And was the Thrash Zone title, was that your idea?
Yeah. I worked with an artist, gave him the idea, and I found it in this box the other day. It was back when we were doing faxes, and he would fax me like a facsimile of what his, and I said, yeah, that looks cool, but add this in and this in. And they'd fax me something else, and until it got down to like, an actual painting that he would send. And I'm like, yeah, that's good. And then that was it. I'm still friends with the guy, the artist, Sam Leha. He did that one. He did Crossover. He did a bunch of our t-shirt designs. What else did you do?
But did you actually pick the title of the album though, calling it Thrash Zone? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. You know, especially in light of the fact that you're saying you were getting pushback, though. You know what I mean? Because it is really like, you know, it is a major statement calling the album Thrash Zone. You know?
Yeah, I don't think we really thought of it that way. We just, you know, it's as you got to sell shirts and stuff to make it as a band. So I'm always, as the guy that's doing that stuff, I'm always trying to look for designs that we could use to put on a shirt that might sell. And we still sell those, Crossover and Thrash Zone.
Of course. So yeah.
Hey, I'm going to come right back. Okay. I just got to grab a beer out of the fridge.
Go for it. Yeah, please do. Yeah. I'll entertain the masses while you're gone. Yeah.
I can still hear you. I should have grabbed more of them. I wasn't sure how long this thing would go. So I'm not trying to get rid of you or anything like that.
Oh, no. I find all that. I find all the history about the stuff like, you know, extremely fascinating, you know, especially because, you know, especially because you guys do have such an interesting arc, because yes, I do remember those early albums and you guys were playing at such breakneck speed or whatever that it couldn't be perceived as anything else but punk hardcore. You know what I mean? Then those other albums came along and they're amazing in their own right. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really think about it that much. Like when Suicidal Tendencies was doing their thing early on, and then like, you know, and then How Will I Laugh Tomorrow came along and you could kind of see them going that thrash way, but it was so seamless, and you guys did it seamless too. But I think you guys did it the most seamless out of any of the bands or whatever. But it's almost like when it's done well, you don't even really notice. You're just kind of along for the ride.
Yeah, I can see what you're talking about.
It's like I don't ever remember listening to you guys and saying, "Oh my God, this isn't a D.R.I. album anymore. This is too drastic." You know, like.
Right. Well, also some people will come up to me and they're like, "Dude, I'm like your biggest fan and everything," right? And because I'm selling the shirts, and they come up, you know, talking to me, and I'm like, "What's your favorite song?" And they're like, they don't even have one, and they're just like, it's just the sound. It's the sound of everything. It doesn't matter which song it is or anything. Right. So I'm like, I don't even understand that. But remember when I said I lost my voice and I couldn't have the boil? Well, I had to just go out to the merch booth, right? And I got to take my earplugs out, you know, and just listen to the band, and it was a really good sound system, and it was just those three guys playing without me, and they sounded really fucking good. Like I realized what their people are talking about now, the sound. And I heard them make a couple little mistakes, because we always do, just a slight mistake, and we beat ourselves up about it. But the people say, "Oh, we don't even care, dude. You know, yeah, sure, we heard you made a mistake or whatever, but it doesn't matter. It's just the sound and everything." So I told the guys in the band, I get it. I finally get it now, because I got to hear you guys from the audience, and it sounded so fucking killer. It's different than sound check, you know, because there's nobody in there.
Right.
And all that, but I said it was just the sound, and even though I heard those little mistakes, it didn't bother me one bit, and I understand what they're talking about now.
But I love the fact, though, that you're copping to the band making mistakes, and that and that thankfully
not the worst.
No, and thankfully the fans, though, man, you know, that's how you can tell good music fans, because they realize that there are human beings up there playing this music, and we all make mistakes. I think in this day and age with technology, I think we've gotten used to wanting our music to be fucking absolutely perfect, because now anything can be accomplished with all the technology we have. But I love the fact, though, that, you know, because, you know, you're seeing a lot of these bands catching a lot of shit now for using backing tracks. And I'm not a musician myself, but I know that, you know, you hear these people getting blown up on YouTube for being caught, using stuff that's piped in, or maybe lip syncing, or not playing instruments, or being authentic or whatever. And I think we've gotten used to just everything being so produced and cookie cuttered and cut up to get the most perfect possible version, that it kind of sucks the soul out of rock and roll, doesn't it? A little bit.
I don't know. When I watch bands, I'm not really looking for them to make a mistake, or trying to hear a mistake or anything. But with D.R.I. fans, I guess some of them, you know, they know the song so well. Right. They can hear if you just stumble, just a slight stumble. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just like a slight starting to play something a different note or something like that. They hear that, and they'll come up and say it. You know, usually our friends are the ones that'll bust your balls.
Yeah.
Hey man, I heard you fuck up on that song. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, I don't care. I own it. You know what I mean? I told our drummer, I said, look, the new guy that we've got, he hasn't even been with us a whole year yet. And I told him, I said, don't, you know, if you make some mistakes, don't worry about it. It's like, don't stop. You know what I mean? I go, I'm the one that I'm going to be making most of the mistakes. He's like, really? And I go, yeah, you'll see.
Yeah. and I got to ask, you know, a couple of my subjective questions here. You know, for you, I'm sure you've seen, from a fan standpoint, seen lots and lots of live shows or whatever. Is there anybody that you've got a chance to go see live where you're in the audience and you were really blown away? You know, a live performance that's really stuck with you.
Yeah, Slayer, of course.
Oh, yeah.
You can go to a Slayer show and you're not gonna just walk away going, "Oh, that was lame."
Yeah, like, right.
Yeah, there's all kinds of bands. Circle Jerks. I got to see when the Circle Jerks came back. I got to see them like 3 or 4 times in 1 year.
Yeah,
and they were never really my favorite of the LA hardcore bands, but seeing them, they sounded so fucking good, man.
Yeah,
it was just amazing. I got to see them for 4 times for free.
I've actually had
different
Keith
festivals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've had Keith on the podcast.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he could talk. He could talk your ears off.
Sure. So yeah, we did shows with them back in the day and stuff, and you know, even though I liked them, but they weren't my favorite. But when I saw them again, it was very emotional for me. It was like for a day or two, I was just feeling really strange, you know, and I couldn't even figure out what it was. It was just like. I didn't even go up to the front. I was just in the back, like watching and listening. But I was like, holy shit, they sound so fucking good, man. Those songs sound so good. And I felt like we stole everything from them when I was listening. I'm like, I stole everything from them. There's like, red tape, da 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 da, red tape. And it was like all that stuff. I was like, oh God, I was just stripped bare, naked. It was just like, oh God, this is so bad.
And what do you see are the big differences, though? Because I like the fact that you said you guys go over to do the festivals, you go over to the European markets, man. What are the big glaring differences, man, as opposed to because it seems like when bands go over to Europe, you know, they seem to have a lot more festivals than us. And you don't really hear about the problems. I'm sure they happen over there, but the European audiences really seem to approach and have a respect for the music that, and I live here in the States too, or whatever.
Well, what are the problems you're talking about here? I don't understand.
I don't know. I don't know. I just always hear it seems like musicians seem to hold going over and playing in Europe in a little higher regards than playing here in the States. Am I wrong on that, or?
Well, they've started having more festivals in the U.S. than they used to, right?
They are now
for our type of music, and it's starting to happen more. But there, it's just bigger, I guess. But for us, it's like if we don't have some festivals, those are what they call the anchor dates,
right?
The bigger money or whatever, and then we fill in all the dates in between, and that's just barely surviving or whatever. So I think without the big festivals, we wouldn't even be able to go over there and make any money or survive, you know. The flights and the bringing all the merch and the gear and everything else over there. It's expensive, but renting like there in the US, we just have an opening band that comes with us and we play on their gear. Right. And they do sound check and everything. We just kind of show up and play. So it's real easy, but over there we don't do that. We have to rent all the gear and a Sprinter van and a driver. And, you know, it's just way more expensive over there. European tour, way more expensive than touring in the US. But it's all right. I mean, we're popular in Poland and Eastern Europe and a few other places, Spain and stuff, London every now and then.
Yeah.
Starting to get more popular in Germany. We used to be pretty big there, and then it just went down to nothing.
That surprises me. That surprises me because Germany seems like a country that would embrace what you guys do.
Maybe it's a little trendy or something. I don't know, but whatever it is, we're back. And we're starting to do more shows there now in Germany. But Belgium were big and Holland were real big, which is just right there. Like, a mile away from Germany. And we're huge there. And then Germany is just like, But we used to, the booking agency is a German company. So they used to book a lot of our shows in Germany. So it'd be like Belgium, Germany, Spain, Germany, France, Germany, Holland. You know, it's like, and then I think Spike finally told him, like, look, dude, you just got to, you know, these German shows are sucking ass. You got to put us somewhere else, you know? So, yeah, we do I'd say every 2 years we do the UK and, you know, go up to, this year we're going to be going up to Denmark and Finland and Sweden and stuff like that. which we don't do every year. We do every other year.
And so with you being the front man, obviously, man, like you're out there, man, like you're getting, you know, a pretty good view of what the crowd is out there doing. What are the biggest differences that you see from when you guys were doing your thing in the 80s and the 90s, and now you look out and do a crowd in today's world, man? Like, what's the difference?
Less fights.
Less fights. That's good, I suppose. That's a good thing.
And on stage, the lights, they used to have those old can lights. They call cans, or it's basically a heat lamp.
Yeah, yeah.
Coffee can type of thing.
Yeah.
And then in a big concert, I think they're way up there.
Yeah.
But in a small club, they're right on your fucking back. They're like, the drummer's literally fucking just steaming hot and everything. But now they have LED lights, so it's not as bad. So I really like that part of it. And every now and then, Eastern Europe, you might have a show or two where they have the old lights and they haven't got into the LEDs yet. And you can really tell the difference.
Well, it's at least good to know less people are getting their ass kicked in the crowd. That's a good thing.
Yeah. But besides that, really not that much different, you know? I mean, we try to do as many all ages shows as we can, because then you get the families coming in with their kids, and you're introducing them to it and stuff. And yeah, it's a lot more fun for us. And pretty much all of our shows, it's just the East Coast is the problem. East Coast is, you know, well, you know how it is. You live there.
Yeah.
A lot of the places we play are like, I call old man bars, and they don't allow kids in there and stuff. So, you know, insurance purposes and whatever. So the fans are still cool, but it's better. I'd rather prefer having all ages.
Yeah. I'm in a weird part of upstate New York, because I'm kind of smack dab in the middle of the state. And in order for me to go see any kind of band that does what you do or that style of music, I've got to travel a bit. But all the places that I would travel to, I get what you're saying. Like, they are dive bars, you know. I mean,
well, I don't want to call them that, but you know, they just, yeah. And like say, we do the West Coast, you know, they have different laws there. So as long as you have some food, usually, I think, like some potato chips or something, then you can have kids in there.
Right.
They just, you know, put an X on their hand, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just a whole different scene there than it is on the East Coast. And we just, you know, we don't do as well there. We play smaller places. I'd say New York City, Brooklyn or something might be our best show. New Jersey, maybe. But it's just pretty, not miserable, but it's not the best tour of the year. The worst tour of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. It's still a great tour. I'm not complaining. D.R.I, we have you know, great fans and everything's killer and everything like that. But if you want to rank them, that would be, I would say, my least favorite, only because of where we play and everything. And the law, it's the laws. It's just the laws.
Well, this is also a great time. This is also a great time of year to not be anywhere near New York State, because it is absolutely freezing fucking cold here right now, man. So this is a good time. We
don't tour in the winter up north anymore.
Good move.
Yeah. Spike books the shows now.
Yeah.
So he's our booking agent. But back when we had a booking agent, they didn't care.
Right.
They'll send you to Sweden and Norway, you know, in January. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck. Oh, it's great because nobody else is touring there. So y'all will be the only ones. And I'm like, why isn't anybody else touring there?
Yeah, there's a reason. Yeah.
Right. So same thing, Canada in the north, you know, in the winter. So, and we don't play down south in the summer. You know, we tour down south now in the winter. Instead of, we do everything right now that Spike's doing it. He's like a savior for us. You know what I mean? He's doing everything perfectly with the booking and all that. He's got it fucking dialed in.
And that's great when you got a band member that can step up and take that kind of role on, because you know, I imagine when you get into the music business, you just want to be a performer, but then obviously, you know, there is a business side of it, and it is nice when someone has a head for that kind of stuff, you know.
The vocalist is the perfect one to do the merch, because they don't have to, you know, be tuning up and moving the gear and setting it all up and tearing it all down. And as soon as I get off stage, I just go right back to the merch booth. They're up there for an hour tearing their fucking guitars down and packing everything up and all that stuff. So yeah, I would recommend that to any band. Just have the vocalist should be out there fucking selling the shit. That's just another way to cut the fat, you know. We can now tour in a minivan because it's just the four of us. And if we had somebody else, like a driver or a roadie or somebody selling the merch, then now we have to get a bigger van, going to cost way more.
And so what do you guys do? Split the driving amongst yourselves?
No.
No.
We have our bass player drives. Pay him. He gets paid extra to be the driver. Great driver. But over the years, you know, we changed out different people. But used to be, yeah. Me and Spike don't want to drive anymore because we used to. We've done our driving. That's what I say.
Dues. Yeah, you paid your
I've
dues.
driven around the United States like you know, 50 times or whatever. It's their turn now.
Yeah.
But we never got paid for it. But yeah, back in the day, we used to just split it. We do 1 tank of gas each. But that was back when we had a booking agent. They didn't care. It's like, yeah, you're playing Houston tonight and then Seattle tomorrow. If you leave right after the show, you should make it right before you play. And we'd be like, okay. We didn't even think twice. We'd just be like, all right, yeah, that was it.
To be young again.
Whatever they told us, we would just do it until we woke up at some point and just be like, fuck this shit.
And so what will 2025 be like for you guys, man? Before I let you out of here, man, what can fans expect from you guys in 2025? Obviously more touring.
Yeah, we're starting the tour of that festival, March 20th is the festival, Hell's Heroes. Okay. Supposedly the people come from all over the world for that. It's a really big one. And I was here for it last time. I didn't even go. It's 3 days long. I didn't even go just because for me, you know, being on the road all the time, it's really the last thing I want to do is go hang out at a festival for 3 days.
And you guys have any idea who you'll be out on the road with, or is that not determined yet?
It's determined. Some of them are determined. Scattered Guts is one band. We pick up bands and we try them out, and if we like them, then we take them on tours in different areas. You know what I mean? So, like say we get a band and they tour with us on the East Coast and we like them, then next time we might do the West Coast or the Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
Or Midwest with them. We have some bands we've done every single one with them already, and they're now starting. Like one band is it's one guy, and he's got 3 different bands, and we've toured with all 3 of his bands all around because he's such a cool guy and everything, and killer bands and all that. But we still pick up new bands and everything. And Scattered Guts is one of them. We already did 1 tour with them. Now we're about to do another one.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're a good band. Yeah,
and cool guys too.
I've actually had Ruben on the podcast, their lead singer, and I never got a chance to air it. And I'm glad this came up because I got to get him back on because we had a lot of technical difficulties, man. And I reached out to him and I said, it's just not airable, man. You know, I mean, we just didn't have a good connection. It's really nobody's fault or whatever. But I'm friends with him on Facebook. I got to get him back on again because I do love his band, man. And I got to get a workable interview with him that I can actually put up here.
One of the last shows we played with them. We did the whole West Coast with them recently. And one of the last shows, somebody was throwing beer cans or something up on the stage while we were playing, which, you know, is pretty normal.
Yeah.
But one hit me right here in the eye. I didn't see it coming or whatever. I just kind of turned and it just went bam. It felt like it was half full or something, you know, not just an empty can.
Right.
And it hurt, you know what I mean? And then I felt and I could feel it was bleeding. So I, you know, how that blood feels, you know?
Oh yeah.
So I just left it alone, sang the rest of the songs and all that. And then afterwards I went in, looked in the bathroom and there was a big blood drip just coming down like that. It was pretty cool looking. I got a picture of it. And then I, finished selling merch and all that stuff. And yeah, it was weird. It was a strange feeling. It was a strange feeling because I was like, did they hate me all of a sudden? You know?
I gotta say that's confusing, man. Because I would imagine
it was very confusing.
I mean, you gotta kind of be fucking pissed a little bit. Like even you telling the story right now. You know, what I mean, you're telling it pretty calm and pretty relaxed, man. But does that kind of shit fucking piss you off at all?
I got kind of drunk that night because I think I was just emotional about it. I was trying to process it. I was trying to process the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most of the people out there paid to see us. They like us. But,
and they're gonna pelt you with a fucking beer can.
Right. So then we were like, I was asking the guys in Scattered Guts, afterwards we were talking and I said, man, I wish you could have caught the person that did it, kicked their ass and all that. And one guy's like, I saw who did it. And I'm like, did you get him? And he's like, it was some girl. And I was like, so you couldn't really do anything,
that changes everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't change the fact that that's still a dick move, though, man. I mean, whether you're a guy or a girl, don't throw cans of beer at your fucking favorite artists.
Well, it became a popular thing. I don't know if you saw, like with pop bands, people throwing like water bottles and shit, and hitting pop stars, and they're like, "Oh shit!" Like I just got hit in the fucking face with, and Yeah, it's kind of a weird deal. It's just a strange feeling, but anyway,
but you gotta be careful. You do gotta be careful. You're a pretty mellow guy, but if you do something like that to, let's say, Corpse Grinder, he's gonna come in the crowd and fucking possibly kill you.
Well, if I would have seen it, yeah. I didn't see him though.
You know, I mean, like there are guys.
I would do it too. I would do it too, but I didn't see who did it. It just came flying out of nowhere. And like I said, several cans had already been flying, so I was kind of watching and everything, you know, but you just it doesn't happen very often, but anyway, it was kind of a weird deal.
Yeah, how do you like that for fucking gratitude? You go up there and you sing some songs for people and you get your fucking head fucking split open with a fucking beer can.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but it was a little nick, but it was bleeding pretty good.
Although the blood aesthetic running down the fucking you know, like the way you describe it, cascading down though, there is something very poetic.
I'll send you a picture. I took one of myself in the bathroom, a selfie. But Ruben took one of me and his was better lighting and everything. I'll send you Ruben's. So
I'll tell you what, if you were to make a new album, that's the fucking cover right there. That says it all, you know? I mean, hey, I'm bleeding for this fucking shit, you know? I mean,
I ain't like that.
I guess that's the world. I guess that's the world today in fucking 2025. You know what I mean? For gratitude, you know what I mean? You go up there and you fucking sing your heart out and your fans fucking pelt you with shit.
Sometimes it happens, you know. It ain't no big deal. It just happens.
And so I got to ask before I let you out of here, man, when you guys do go on tour, is there a specific amount of time that you like to go away for, or is it just decided on the amount of shows you can book? Is there a comfortable amount of time you like to be away from home?
No, we've been doing exactly the same for the last few years, and it's 3 weeks.
3 weeks. I hear that number all the time. And there's something about 3 or 4 weeks, man.
Sometimes, well, the thing is, 2 weeks is nice, but you have the expense of flying everybody in, renting the vehicle and everything. So 2 weeks, you could do okay, but if you have 3 weeks, it helps to pay for the initial flights back and forth and all that.
Sure. Yeah.
Like Europe, we used to go 2 weeks, and now we started going 3 weeks because 3 weeks, it just, you know, everything goes up in price, flights and all that. So 3 weeks seems to make it more reasonable for us.
And where's the best place if people want to get tapped in before I let you out of here, man, and keep up with D.R.I stuff? You know, like you guys are probably on all the social medias, but you guys have a proper website though, too, correct?
Spike runs the website, dirtyrottenImbeciles.com or DRI1.com.
Okay.
The number one.
And so people can go on there. They can find out where you guys are touring, man, and fucking.
It has it has all the dates on there. He updates it as they come in. So if it's not updated yet, then just check back, you know, and you'll see Spike keeps it updated pretty well. So
I appreciate you doing this, man. It's a real honor for me, man. I'm glad we're in touch now, man. For sure.
Why does it have to be over already? You got something to do?
No, it doesn't have to be over.
Oh, okay. I don't have anything to do. I just got back from work. I've been working all day, construction and gardening.
Hey, let's go a few more minutes then. Fine. Fuck it, man. Okay. So yeah, I want to hint on that right there, man. You know, because I like the fact that you're a working man also, man. And doing construction is a very physical job. I mean, I work in healthcare. I'm a nurse. Certainly not as physical a job as being a construction guy and working with my hands or whatever. But I am on my fucking feet all day, man. I have times where I come home and I want to decompress, man. Like having the podcast is a nice little side hustle, man. But I mean, are there times when you wish you weren't pulling double duty and had a day job and did the music thing?
No, I don't have to do the day job. I want to do it. I mean, I need to make extra money and all that. But no, I just started back at this job. It's a friend of mine.
Okay.
Wanting me to do all this stuff, but I also do other work for other people and stuff. But when I first got back, I had shit to do on my own house. I got hit last summer. I got hit by a tornado and a hurricane within 2 months. 2 months, period. That's Texas. It's wild here. So anyway, I had to deal with all the contractors coming over every day. You know, people just coming over you got to be here, and they come over to do bids and all that shit. Dealing with the insurance companies back and forth and all that stuff. And I finally just had the roofer came over. Was it Saturday? And did the roof. I just had to have my whole sewer system. That's not even an insurance thing. I had to have that all done. That took a couple of weeks.
No, I've been there.
It's supposed to be a 1 day thing. The guy told me, and it ended up being like 2 weeks or something. But anyway, that's all done. So that's why I was able to go back to work, because I wasn't stuck here at the house every day.
See, that's why I tell
people to show up.
That's why I tell the people that live in upstate New York, man, when they want to bitch about the fucking snow, there are places, man, where you guys deal with more than just us getting a little bit of snow. I mean, you know, tornadoes, hurricanes. I mean, we don't even have anything here that can really fuck us up. Like, you guys got snakes down there, and you know what I mean? Like, you know, I get people up here all the time, and oh, we got a foot of snow coming. Hey, that's a lot less than a lot of people fucking deal with, though. You know, a foot of fucking snow. I mean, yeah, it's an inconvenience, man. But, you know, you guys are in a part of the world where you could come home and have your fucking roof gone. You know, I mean.
Yeah, all the types of poisonous snakes in the U.S. are represented here in Texas, I think.
Yeah.
We've got coral snakes, rattlesnakes, water moccasins. What else am I missing? Anyway, we got it all here.
Yeah, I've been down to Texas. I was down in Texas back around early 2000s. One of my wife's friends lived outside of San Antonio, and we went down there for the wedding. And she took us to a watering hole because it was hot as fuck, as it always is in Texas. And we jump into this river, creek. I don't know what it was or whatever. We're not.
What's it called?
Huh?
What was it called?
I don't know. But
okay.
I'd have to.
What's the city? What city was it?
I know we were just outside of San Antonio.
Okay.
And we weren't in the watering hole probably more than 10 minutes. Some guy comes running down the bank. Get out, get out, get out. There's a water moccasin swimming up. And I don't know anything about them, but apparently they're pretty temperamental little snakes. I don't know. Are they aggressive?
They are super aggressive. So I ride mountain bikes, right?
Yeah.
There's no mountains here, but we go on what they call single track trails.
Sure.
Just trails. But if you come upon a water moccasin, they're not like one of those ones. Oh, they're more afraid of you than you are of them.
Right.
No, they're there. You see them, you stop or whatever. Then they look at you and everything, and then they fucking come at you. They'll fucking come at you and everything and attack you. They're not trying to get away. They're trying to get you. They're not trying to eat you. They're just dicks. They're just assholes.
And I think the name is confusing too, because you're kind of alluding to the fact that they can come at you on the ground too, right?
Yes,
they're not just in the water.
Well, where I live, Houston's like a swamp basically. So right. Yeah, everything's like flood zone and all that. So where I go riding, it's near water. Everything's near water. So yeah, we're just cruising bayous and swamps and shit.
So water moccasins are comfortable in the water, right? Is that the only place they really exist? There's got to be water around, or they got to be in water?
Yeah, I think there's water. Yeah, always water around it. But you'll just see them cruising across the trail or something. And yeah, they're dicks. They will fucking come at you. There's other snakes that look like them, water snakes and stuff, that are not moccasins. They don't come after you though.
And now, have you ever been the victim of a snake bite in all your years living there?
I have not.
Lucky. Very lucky, I would imagine. No?
Yeah. Yeah. Only one time I lived out in the country and I didn't get bit, but I had chickens and everything. And I remember I was walking around and gardening, and I came around the house, and there was one of my baby chickens was dead, just laying there. Chickens die sometimes, you don't know why. Nobody's going to do an autopsy on them.
Right.
So I grabbed it, threw it in the trash or whatever, compost. And then I walked around the house, and I came back around the outside, and there was a big ass timber rattlesnake laying there. So I think it had bit the thing, and then it saw me coming and it hid or something and was going to come back for it. And I just froze, and I was sitting there. I just stood there for a long time. I didn't have my gun on me. I was just standing there for a long time. And it was, flicking its tongue and all that shit.
Ooh. And
it was a big, long one. It was right there. It was like a couple feet from me. And I just stood there for a really long time. And then I slowly started backing up, until I could get out of there, and went and got my shotgun. And I skinned it and everything, and had it on the wall, preserved the skin.
Oddly enough, people say that they're fucking fantastic to eat, though, man, that they taste really good.
Yeah, I should have eaten it. I don't know why I didn't. I think I was just kind of freaked out about the whole thing about just being face to face that close with a rattlesnake.
And so it sounds like, and I guess that's probably the majority of people's opinion of snakes. It sounds like when you come face to face with them, you can't help but be scared, though, right? Like, do you have a fear of them? I mean, obviously, getting bit by them is bad, but I mean, like, do you go around?
I'm not afraid of all snakes, but certain poisonous ones, yes. They just say like freeze, don't make any sudden movements and all that. That's what I did. So I got out of it. That's why I didn't get bit. But if I would have not seen it, and just stepped on it, instead of stopping, then I would have got bit for sure.
But I imagine though, man, but I imagine, because it is an area that's high in poisonous snakes, though, that I imagine that if you get to a hospital, though, every hospital must be equipped with anti-venom, though, right? They got to have it, right? I mean.
Well, one of my friends there got bit by a coral snake, and he said, I'm like, what happened and everything? He goes, I went to the hospital, and they said they have the anti-venom, but they said the anti-venom could kill you. So they said, I don't know, he just had a choice or whatever, and he decided not to take the anti-venom, and he lived. So they said, I think he had a lot of beer in him. I think they said it thinned out his blood or something like that. I don't remember. But whatever it was, he lived. But he said it hurt like a motherfucker.
Oh my God, I couldn't imagine. And like a lot of those poisonous snakes, man, when you get bit by them, it starts to go deeper than just a bite, because then you see what they start to do, like necrotically to the tissue and fucking, man, like within like hours, man, you can really be fucked up.
Well, we got spiders here too. Besides black widows, they got the brown recluse. And when I lived out in the country, almost everybody had like a brown recluse story, once you start talking about it. Yeah. Oh yeah, and they show their leg, and it's all fucked up and big old fucking chunks taken out of it. And they said once it bites you, they call it, but it's actually like venom. I don't know what it is, but it fucks it, goes down and screws your wherever they bit you, fuck up your arm or whatever. And they said if you get bit by one, let's say you have a sinus problem at the time, and you get bit by a brown recluse, and this half of your sinus is all clogged up. Well, it'll fuck that all up really bad, like for the rest of your life. So whatever problem you've already got, at that time when you get bit could really mess you up. And a brown recluse just looks like a little brown spider. It's not like the black widow you could easily tell what it is. Everybody knows they're kind of shiny looking and everything, and they're different.
Yeah, they got that red hourglass on them too, don't they?
But even if you can't see their belly, they just look different. They're shiny. They're a little bit like glossy.
See, that's another one of those things that up here in upstate New York, we don't got to fucking worry about. We check it off the list. We don't even think about it. You know what I mean?
Well, people in construction too, they're the ones that have to deal with the snakes and the spiders. When they say you got to climb, I used to level houses. You have to out in the woods. You have to climb under the house. And they're up on blocks because everything's flooded. So you have to get under there, and you don't know what's under there. It's like, I remember climbing under a house one time, and in the back corner, there's this huge pile of leaves and stuff, a nest of some type. Wow. and eventually I didn't have to go to that spot at first, but eventually I knew I would have to, and I didn't know what was in there, and what made that thing. Obviously it wasn't a spider or a snake, but it could be, I don't know what.
And so when you go into one of those houses, man, what do you do, man? What do you wear? You don't just go in regular. Do you put on some kind of a suit or something, like a hazmat suit? No?
You just go in there regular.
Oh, fuck. Jesus Christ. That's fucking scary.
It's actually one of the best jobs to have in the summer because it's cool under there.
Oh, yeah.
So you're just laying under there and you're waiting for orders from the outside.
Yeah.
So you're laying over there, you start falling asleep, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, all right, do this, do that, and passing you stuff and do it. But you could kind of just relax under there for a few minutes sometimes, not knowing what's going on outside. I did see a couple roadrunners down there, though. That was cool. That was cool for being upstate New York and getting to see fucking some roadrunners. That's something you don't see every day. That's kind of cool. That's badass, yeah. Arizona. I've seen a few in Arizona, New Mexico and stuff, I think.
You know what, though? I think this adds to my theory, though, man, because you guys, your band came out of a state that's a warm weather state. I think aggressive music, man, correlates with hot weather, man. All the hot weather states, all the hot weather states have great music scenes. You got the Bay Area thrash, down in Tampa, there's a great death metal scene. There's great metal that's come out of Texas. There's a great scene in New Orleans, obviously, with like Crowbar and I Hate God and a lot of bands out of there, man. Hot weather equals awesome aggressive music. It must be makes you guys. Is it because
good bands?
Yeah,
you guys have good bands up there.
It must be hot weather makes you angry.
Mm-hmm. Could be. Definitely doesn't make you happy.
I mean, I don't want to knock New York State, man, because obviously, I'm partial, man. Like New York has a great hardcore scene. I mean, I love Agnostic Front. I love Sick of It All. I love the Crow Mag.
Spike's from New York. Long Island.
Yep.
Our guitar player, he's from New York. Yeah, he was more into, we met him. He's into the Ramones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we hadn't really got into that yet. The Ramones yet. We were more into, that was the original. We were more into the stuff, bands that were influenced by the Ramones and stuff like Black Flag.
Right.
Was a second generation of punk or something. I don't know. But Spike was always into the Ramones. I like some of their songs. I mean, I get it and everything, but I'm not like playing their songs.
I imagine I imagine it would have been tough if you guys would have stayed on that trajectory of being the fastest playing band in the world, though, because that might have got tough, like when you get to be like 30, 40 years into your career, though, to still be playing at breakneck speed,
Yeah, we joke around, me and Spike, the band. I tell people sometimes we set the bar kind of high for ourselves. Like, in retrospect, if you're young and you're thinking about, oh, we should make our songs real easy. That way, when we're 65 years old, we could play them easily. We didn't think about that. We were, it never even crossed my mind that to make it easy on ourselves. But now we're stuck with it. So
right. Well, you can do it. Well, you can do that formula that you see a lot of the New York hardcore bands do. Like you'll see a band like Agnostic Front. It's like the songs are heavy, but they're only like 45 seconds long. You know what I mean? So,
Well, a lot of those bands, hardcore bands, they don't play as long as us either, as far as their whole set.
Right.
I've noticed. I noticed that. I don't know if it's true for sure. Have you noticed that? Like we play an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And
that's
now
long.
with our new drummer, he's wanting to keep adding songs, which I'm fine. But I thought we were going to be like adding but subtracting.
Yeah.
So you add one and then you subtract a different one. But now we're not doing that. We're not subtracting anything. I'm like, what's going on here? They're just adding more songs on. And I don't know what's going on, but Spike did that years ago. And we got up to it's like 2 hours or something. And as it is, an hour and a half, people come up to me a year later or something like, dude, you guys played like 3 hours. And I'm like, no, it wasn't 3 hours. It was an hour and a half. It just seemed like it. And, but yeah, so anyway, we went up to like 2 hours or something for a while, and it was just kept getting more and more. And then somebody approached me on the street in San Francisco and be like, dude, you guys were playing like too long. It was just ridiculous. And I told Spike, and then one person got it to go back down to an hour and a half again. Thank God.
Well, a lot of those punk bands, man, are those hardcore bands that we're talking about. Like I've gotten, like a full Agnostic Front album back in the days would be like 15 fucking minutes from beginning to end. I mean, the whole fucking album, it would just be like, 18 songs that are all like fucking 35 seconds, like it just comes on. It's like a blur of noise and then it's over, I mean.
And the way that we played the songs like all in a row, not all bands do that. Some bands play one song and then they stop and then they talk or whatever, and they play another song. But I've heard bands say, yeah, man, we're going to do it D.R.I. style. Like, just like, they talk about us as like how they want to play their set, which is all in just a bunch of songs in a row without stopping. So that's considered D.R.I. style, I guess, for some people. I never knew that, but for us, it's just how we do it. Spike knows which songs go well together and one into the other and all that. And that's how we do it,
And are you guys very nostalgic when you look back on your career? Like, are you guys at all interested? And maybe you've done this. Forgive me for not knowing, but are you guys into saying, hey, we're going to go out on this tour and we're going to play, Thrash Zone in its entirety, or we're going to go out and do, the whole Dealing With It album or something like that. You see a lot of bands doing this nowadays.
Spike definitely doesn't want to do that.
Okay.
So, we talk about stuff like that. I've mentioned stuff like that. Yeah, he doesn't really want to do it. So I don't think we're going to be doing that. And I haven't heard anybody saying they wanted us to do it. Some people like you will say, are you considering doing it? And that's about it.
Yeah. So, well, you see a lot of bands doing it, and it's like, oh, it's the 30th anniversary of this album. So in honor of it, we're going to go out and we're going to play the whole thing from start to back. You know what I mean? Like, you see a lot of bands out there doing that. And I don't know. I don't know if there's people out there that are calling for it, or if bands just feel like they got to do it because it's the anniversary of the album. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Not really sure, but yeah, we don't do that. But I don't really listen to our own music very often. But if I was to listen to, like, say, the whole Thrash Zone album,
yeah,
like from start to, I would probably hear a lot of filler.
Yeah.
You know, certain songs that I thought were really cool in the beginning. I'm like, okay, I see why we're not playing that song live.
Yeah.
Because every band has filler songs, where it's just like, because every song can't be better than every other song. Every song. There has to be some great ones in there, and then, or you wouldn't put the album out.
Right.
And then there's got to be some that are pretty good that made the album. And
Sure.
you know how bands are. Sometimes they'll save songs, and actually Thrash Hard was one I tried to do for a crossover, and nobody in the band liked it. I showed them the lyrics and everything, and then we saved it for the next album, and it was fine, you know, but it just wasn't that time yet for it.
And back when you guys were really hitting it hard in the 80s and the 90s, man, like, is there a band, or maybe the answer is more than one band, but are there any people that you remember going out with on tour where it was really just a memorable fucking time, man? Like, were there bands that
we toured with COC a lot? We toured with COC a whole lot in the beginning.
Yeah.
And we used to play a lot of shows with them. They were opening for us.
Yeah.
I was talking to Pepper like a year ago or something, and I told him, the new guitar player of COC, singer. And I was telling him, like, dude, because we toured with them when he was just the new guy in the band,
right?
And we shared a tour bus and did a whole European tour with them. But he wasn't, you know, I didn't know him that well. Just because there's somebody on a tour bus with you doesn't mean at the end they're your best friend or anything. But he remembers it and all that. He wasn't the singer back then. He was just the new guitar player. But I told him, I'm like, man, you gotta, you know, any band that opens for us and then they get bigger than us, I always try to get them to let us go on tour with them. But he just said it wouldn't be good. He said, our crowd is not your crowd. It's more of a, you know, like you said, doom metal.
It's changed.
Country type of thing or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
He said it wouldn't be good. So
I would say out of all the bands that did that crossover sound, man, I think they probably departed from that sound probably the most. You know what I mean?
But I love it. It sounds killer.
They're great.
What they did is great. They did is great. Yeah. So it was nothing wrong with it or anything. In fact, I told Pepper I was so happy that they were playing their COC songs on the fucking radio, like regular radio. And I was telling my friends out when I was living out in the country here in Texas for like 10 years. And I told my friends, I'm like, I know that band. And they're like, really? It was Albatross. You know that song?
Oh, yeah.
It was on pretty heavy rotation. And I'm like, yeah, I know that band. We toured with them and all that stuff. And I don't even know if they believe me. But whatever. It was still, you know, it was a good time. And I'm really proud of those guys. They're doing good. Mike quit, though. Mike quit recently, the bass player.
And what about Suicidal? Do you have any history being out on the road with those guys?
Not really. We played shows with them. The last time we did some shows with them was some years ago. Was Sick of It All and Suicidal and D.R.I. And we like some of the show, it was the East Coast. Some of the shows, it was just us and Suicidal.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was all three bands. And I only got to talk to Mike Muir for like a minute. He came out to the merch booth or whatever. And I'm like, dude, we need to do more shows together. You know, the fans are coming up here and just loving it. They got to see both of our bands together with Sick of It All and everything. And then, you know, it just didn't happen anymore. So, you know, it's whatever. We've done a few shows with them in the past, but I don't think we're going to be, you know, doing a whole tour with them or anything.
I'm actually going to see them in April, it's out in upstate New York, but it's a big stadium tour, but it's them with Metallica, so it's really Metallica's concert, you know what I mean? But it's you know, I'm glad to see a band like Suicidal getting that kind of exposure though, and getting to get on a bill like that though, because I feel like that they have, you know, I know they've done well in their career, man, but to kind of be taken out on the road with Metallica, it's going to certainly expose them to a lot of new fans, you know.
I don't think it's their first time.
No, I don't think it's their first time, but it's kind of cool now because you know, the bass player Rob for Metallica. But now his son is playing.
He was in Suicidal. I know he was in Suicidal and everything.
And now his son is playing. His son's playing Suicidal. Yeah. And his son's a hell of a fucking bass player, man. The apple didn't fall far from the tree, that's for sure.
That's good, man. That's really good. Yeah, I mean, we played with Suicidal a bunch of times, but I love those guys. I love their songs. I feel like they're much better than us, you know, as far as Mike Muir, better singer and all that stuff. They're just like you were saying, the ranking. I know where we rank. We're under them, but not too bad under them. Because like I said, we can play grindcore festivals and
right. Versatility there.
Punk Rock Boy and all that stuff. So I'm super happy with where we are.
You should be. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and
we had back in the day, not to cut you off real quick, but we had offers back in the day to open for Iron Maiden and to open for I think one time we had for a festival, for a tour, and we said no. And then one time we got an offer to open for Ace Frehley on a tour, and we said no. But both times we already had our own tour booked. We would have to cancel our tour to do their tour. So whatever. I'm not a big Iron Maiden fan, so for me,
I'm not either, man. I get criticized for that.
It's only me and you are like the only ones.
I that's what I feel like sometimes. I'm not one about. Trust me, though, I can tell you that in all 100% assuredly, we are not the only ones, but we are a small group, man, of people that just seem to have missed the boat on Iron Maiden. And
I don't hate it. It's not like
I don't hate them. No, I just
found myself tapping my toe or something, to their songs. You can't help it or whatever, but it's just not. It's not for me. And I've seen them before play. I've seen them play live and everything, but it didn't really do it for me. I don't know.
But there's just
I'm not gonna apologize or anything.
Right. There's some of those bands where people it's like if you mention that you don't get them, people give you that look like, hey, come on, everybody loves these people, and it's like, it's not necessarily true though. You know what I mean? Like, I've often been criticized, and I don't know where you stand on that, man. So this might be an awkward part of the conversation here. But I
don't know all their albums, so go ahead.
I don't either. But I also feel the same way, and I might get criticism for this. And I think I've said this on my podcast before, but I sometimes don't get all the craze even with the fucking Beatles. I just don't.
I like the Beatles though.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I dislike everything they've ever done, but the way people get so fanatical and just always instantly put them in that number one slot of the greatest band of all time, man. You know what I mean? And there's just no room for debate with people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I'm not like that. I like some of their songs, and obviously they influenced a lot of people, as D.R.I. has. That's one of the best things about my band of D.R.I. is that is all the people that we've influenced.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I'm not telling you like, oh, those guys ripped us off. I'm telling you like from people that have told me.
Sure.
Come up to me and say, man, you influenced me. I never would have even started music. And some people even lyrically, which is more important for me, of course, because I don't write the music, but
right.
Yeah. And so did you know I did a song with Dave Grohl, not to change the subject, but.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't, but that's cool.
Okay, well, Dave Grohl had put out an album called Probot.
Yep, I remember Probot. Yeah.
Well, I'm on that album.
That's awesome.
So somehow they got he got like his favorite singers from that genre or that time or period or whatever that he liked. That kind of influenced him, and I was one of those. So
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I got super lucky with that whole deal. He wrote the music and played the instruments, and then sent me the tape, and then I just wrote the words and went to the studio here in Houston and recorded it and sent it back to him, and that was it.
Yeah, Dave Grohl is one of those guys, man, that's been just really blessed in the rock and roll world, though, man. I mean, to be in, it's like to be in Nirvana and then fall into ass backwards into another great band like the fucking Foo Fighters. I mean, he's just fucking everything.
He didn't fall into it. He didn't fall into anything. He's a
talented dude. Yeah. Yeah.
No, but he's also just doing it. You know what I mean?
Always.
A lot of bands, musicians think about doing stuff, but he just actually does it. He just goes out and does it.
Yeah.
He's fucking on it. But yeah, I was super happy about that he chose me to be on that album and everything. It was killer.
I'm curious, man. Like, well, I think you brought this up earlier in the conversation, man. But like when the '80s were really rolling along. And I know a lot of it was hair metal and stuff like that. I mean, everything in the 80s wasn't necessarily great, but it was a fun era and everything. And then along comes 1990, and then we get the grunge movement, man. Did you like the grunge sound?
I did, but it affected our whole, it affected our whole fucking
no
gig.
doubt.
We were going up and up and up and then down.
Yeah.
So that's when, like I said, we had to start cutting the fat, no more tour buses.
Yeah.
No more, bringing our equipment with us and all that stuff, and just start getting back to the old days of the van, back to the van, that's, a lot of bands broke up back then. They got,
oh yeah.
Well, you remember when Metallica got big, I think a lot of the record companies started, just, signing other bands, hoping for the next Metallica.
Right.
And we were in there with Metal Blade and everything. Then all of a sudden we got traded to another label, like a Sports Star or something, right? You just wake up and all of a sudden you've been traded to another label. It was
That's
like, what?
Crazy. I didn't even know that was possible with bands. I mean, I know you can get dropped by your label, but traded?
Yeah, we got traded. So our record our manager ended up getting us out of that deal somehow. And then of course he put us on his label, his new label, Rotten Records. That didn't go well. Never have your manager be the record company guy. No. Also, the managers, for all you musicians out there or people that are in a band, your manager is the one trying to get the money that you're owed. Sure. That's their job. They're trying. They're the guy out there fucking trying to get the money from the record company, suing this person, that person, all that. So if they are the record company, then you got nobody to watch you're sending the rat to watch the cheese.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
And for anybody that might not, and for people that might be wondering, man, like when D.R.I. is going to get traded, man, like what's the trade proposal, man?
There's no proposal. It just happens. You don't get to decide.
I mean, but like, what does your record label get when they trade you away? Like, what's the incoming offer, man? Like, what do they get in return?
I don't remember. I really don't remember what it was. A couple, it could have been like a different band.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like 2 bands or something for our band, or I really don't remember what it was. All I know is that we got traded, then we got out of that, and then we were on Rotten Records. But I remember, the label we got traded to. I really can't remember what it was, but I know. I think the biggest band. Okay, so with Metal Blade, we were a pretty big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
And then we got traded to that other label, which I think Aerosmith was their big band. And we were a very small fish in a very big pond. But the thing is, with a big company like that, they have a lot of resources to help you and everything and try to get you. And so they probably did some help for us and everything. But when our manager tried to get us out of it, and they probably just said, yeah, go. And, we were just bothersome, and they probably didn't think that we were going to do much anyway. So they let us go pretty easy.
Well, one reason why this is going to go down as a legendary interview for me is because out of 280 episodes, you, Kurt, are the first person that actually requested to stay on and do another fucking 25 minutes with me, man. I'm honored, man. Really.
All right. Talk all night.
Yeah.
But I like I said, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and everybody's like, "Oh, you should do a podcast. You should do a podcast." It's like everybody's doing one.
They really are.
A lot of other musicians and stuff like that, but I got other stuff going on. But I like listening to them and everything.
It is tough nowadays because almost anybody with a computer and a microphone can really, really be a podcaster nowadays. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of them out there.
Was it Josta from Hatebreed?
Yeah,
he's
Jamie's
got a podcast. Jamie. Yeah, I was on his. He did on his tour bus. I did an episode with him, and we were somewhere in Spain or something.
Yeah, and then Drew Stone has a pretty good one there. The New York Hardcore Chronicles. He's got a really good one. He gets a lot of good hardcore guests on there too.
I'm doing that one.
Oh yeah. I'm sure you'll have a good time there, man. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Wait, hold on. Wait, February, March 20th, I think, 19th or something. March 19th.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm doing that podcast with him, but that's like the day before our show here, the big festival, Hell's Heroes.
Yeah.
And I think I decided to do that before I realized what was going on. So it'll be all right. Just have to do it because we're rehearsing that day.
Yeah,
we just got to figure out.
It's funny because he does a good job of advertising them, like like several weeks out, man. And we were talking about COC before. I think he's having Carl, who sang for COC. I think around the Deliverance album time. I think he's got
that was the tour we did in Europe. Kyle was singing.
Yeah.
And Pepper was just the guitar player. He wasn't singing at that time. The new guy.
I've had Carl on my podcast too, but I think I know. But I think I saw Drew was advertising him doing that podcast, and sometime around the same time as you, March, April, somewhere around there. But Drew has a lot of good guests on there from the hardcore world, so that makes sense that he'd have you on there.
Yeah, I've seen COC in probably every one of their incarnations.
Yeah, yeah.
From their very first singer that they had that they toured with and all that, I saw them, and then I saw with Mike singing, and then I saw several different other singers, and then Mike again, and then Pepper, and I've seen it all. It's weird. Yeah. My favorite. Cool
you
band.
have seen it all, man. You have seen it all, and you've had a long, amazing fucking career, man. And I'm glad to see that it's fucking still going, man. You guys are still out there fucking hitting the road, man. And obviously the fans fucking love it, man, because you keep going out there, man, and they keep showing up, man. So something's working.
Also, a lot of bands that nowadays you notice that when they go on tour, they have a package deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it might be, I don't know. I don't know if this actually happens, but like you can say Sick of It All and hold on.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Something happened. Sick of It All and Agnostic Front touring together or something, with another band, but we don't do that. We just go with us, and we have local bands. We have one band opens for us, which nobody's seen before, usually a smaller band. So we're giving them a chance to get out there and play, to an audience. Sometimes after the tour, they break up because it just didn't go like they'd hoped. And other times they do way better, and then they do great. We give them a chance. But then we have several bands from that city that play too. So I get to see because I'm selling the merch. The other guys sometimes aren't even there. They're not at the gig or whatever yet, and at the hotel or something. So I get to see all those local bands and everything. I really like that.
But sometimes that's good though, man, because
like blow you away.
I mean, but that's really how the rock and roll business ought to be, though, man. You know what I mean? Like bands that have really, the fucking bands that have really set their mark. Yeah, giving other young bands a chance, man. You were in that position at one point in your career. You know what I mean? You're kind of paying it forward. I mean,
and I like to see those opening bands too.
Sure,
because every band that I see influences me in some way. Everything in your life does, right?
Yeah.
So even if it's like, oh, I would never do that, then that's influenced you. Like I wouldn't do that.
Right.
But if it's like, oh fuck, just one little thing they say or one little thing they do on stage, it's like I'm gonna steal that, and they'll never know because they're here in Idaho, Boise, Idaho, and I'm off somewhere else. So but I really like watching the opening bands and talking to them and getting their shirts from them and all that stuff. Like you said, that's how we started.
Well, I imagine that probably means a lot to a young band, though, too, man. Because I imagine if I was in a young band, it would be awesome to be on the bill with you guys. But then I would get a personal thrill, though, man, if I looked over and I saw you watching me and admiring what I do, man. That's that's got to make a young band feel good,
But then sometimes we take them on tour after that.
Right.
We're like, hey, man, you guys are killer. You want to go on tour? And they're like, fuck yeah. And other ones that just say no, like we all have regular jobs and we don't, or we have shitty equipment.
I imagine there's a lot of guys who get to the point where they say, you know what, I'm not going to go in and watch the opening band. I'm going to stay out in the parking lot on the bus until it's time for us to go up on the stage, We don't
have a bus, but yeah.
I know band, whatever, about. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of guys who aren't in there, man, necessarily probably watching those young opening bands, We
had a few years where I didn't sell shirts because our manager said that it didn't look good. He said we hired somebody to do it, Yeah. He said it wasn't a good look to have the singer. I fought it, believe me, I fought it tooth and nail.
I would too.
But I got outvoted and everything. So at that time, I wasn't like hanging out at the merch booth and all that. But now I'm happy to be back doing it because I don't like just sitting around waiting. Imagine waiting all day to go up on stage for 45 minutes or an hour and a half. If you're an opening band, imagine you're waiting all day just to go up there for 30 minutes.
Yeah, but I wonder what the management's train of thought is behind that, because you know what, man? I'm going to like my fucking band even more if I see that the lead singer gives a shit enough to come out and be fucking, hanging out with the fucking people, man. I mean, that looks fucking amazing. You know what I mean? Like that comes off.
If you ask me, the train of thought was we can't if he's getting all the money, we're not going to be able to get it all.
Right. That's that. There you go. That's what it is.
He can't see what we're selling or whatever.
Right.
If he's not out there.
Right.
That's my thought.
Yeah. Hold on a second. We can't have 100% of the proceeds going to these guys.
Right. I remember with our manager at one point, I was telling him, I'm like, so he was getting a percentage of all the merch that was being sold. Like, I don't know what, 10% or something. And I'm like, so you're getting all that. I'm like, I'm not getting any of that percentage. Right. And he's like, right. And I'm like, well, that's not right. You know? And I said, you got to give us something from the merch. There's got to be, the band's got to get something. And then he started giving us a little bit, 5% or something. So it was lame.
Well, I gotta say, man, that if I go to a concert, man, in the band that I fucking love, man, I get to walk up and I get to buy my shirt or buy my merch, man, and I get a few minutes to fucking converse and chat fucking like with a guy that's in the band, man. I'm impressed by that, man, rather than just like some guy who's just, here's a 2X and takes your money.
Plus you can get your album signed, your CD autographed and everything. Sometimes, I must admit, that sometimes I really don't have, like LA or something, I'm not going to have time to chat with anybody.
Right.
There's just a huge line of people and it's just constantly going, and people will want to do that. Hey, can we do a selfie and all that? I'm like, I can't do it. I got to, I have to get to everybody because people start getting pissed off. They're waiting in line for an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're over there signing shit and taking selfies with them and their kids and all that. No, people get pissed. So yeah, certain times there's no, but other times, it's normally it's there's time to take selfies and autograph stuff and all that.
I imagine your merchandise does quite well, man, because as I mentioned earlier, it is such an iconic logo, man, that you can fucking see it fucking everywhere. There's so many people out in this world, man, like with a D.R.I. fucking shirt or a hat or a fucking hoodie, like it's really become like, it's really genius branding, man. It's almost like the Nike Swish sign or the fucking McDonald's fucking M, like it really is its own entity. Even people that aren't into that kind of music, man, they seem to know that symbol is you guys.
Pop stars, you see pop stars all the time wearing our shirts and stuff.
Yeah, you do.
Crazy. Yeah. It's fucking crazy. It's like, do they even know, or they just have a stylist that bought the jacket or the shirt and said, here, wear this.
Yeah.
I don't know. But you never know. There's people that like us, and all types of people like D.R.I. Famous guitar players, really famous guitar players and shit like us. They might just like the sound or the guitar, not necessarily the vocals or anything.
Yeah.
I have to accept that.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
They might just like something else about the band.
Right.
I remember when Slayer first came out and we first heard they liked D.R.I., people were saying, then we ended up on the same label. I heard that they liked us, and I'm like, why would they like D.R.I.? Because they're talking like all their lyrics. I'm a lyricist, so in my brain, I was all about the lyrics.
Right.
And I was like, why would they like us? They're just talking about, all the satanic stuff, and we're not like that. And Spike's like, they could like the music, the guitars. And I'm like, stupid me. I'm just like thinking that they would, that everybody cares about the lyrics like me. That's all I care about when I listen, like I listen to Pentagram or something. I'm listening to the vocalist and everything. That's just how I am. And I have to realize that other people might just listen to the drummers.
Right.
They listen to the fucking drums. They're listening to the drum. Oh, that's a nasty drum beat. I'm not listening to that.
Right.
I only just a few years ago started listening to the bass in a song because I had to actually listen for it, because before that I just liked that song. I wasn't trying to break it down. Why do I like that song? I wasn't trying to figure it out. I liked the lyrics or the singing or something, or maybe some fucking full riff or a lead guitar part or something. That was it. Now I'm starting to listen more to everything in the song, trying to figure out the bass and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're not a musician. I'm not either. So
I'm not. Yeah. I mean, typically when I listen to a song, I'm not even really sure what grabs me. I think it's the whole collective entity. But I guess if I'm going to single out one thing, I usually do have to say, man, and again, this probably lends itself to the fact that I don't play anything. I tend to be very big and key in on like the singer's voice. Like if that puts me off right away, it doesn't matter whether they're all fucking virtuosos on their instruments, man. I'm always big on like, listen to the first couple minutes of a song. okay, that sounds great. The music has got me there or whatever. But if that singing starts and it turns me off instantly, man, I'm done.
Well, that's why you're asking me in the very beginning, like what stuff or new stuff that you may listen to or whatever.
Right.
And I'll see my friends on Facebook. Well, I call Facebook friend, 5,000 people I have. Most of them I don't actually know.
Right.
But if one of them will say something like, "Oh, have you checked out this band? Check it out," or whatever. So I'll listen to it. And like you said, the music's in. I'm like, okay, that's pretty good and everything. Right. And then the vocals come in and I'm like, no, I'm not. I can't get behind that. I can't. At first, I can't understand what they're saying, which people probably say the same thing about me. I don't know. I try to enunciate everything perfectly so that people can understand because I have something to say. But most people probably. I ask my friends, I'm like, "Can you tell what I'm saying?" and everything. They're like, "No." Like, what? I'm bummed, but I'm trying.
Well, but you do enunciate good. I think a lot of it just has to do with the speed. You know what I mean? Like if people aren't used to listening to that kind of music and being able to pick stuff out at a rapid rate like that, it's probably tough,
Right. The band we toured with on the last tour, they're called Killed by Florida. And it's one of those bands that we played with several times in Florida. And then we asked them to come on tour with us and they did a tour with us. And the singer is just like, he's just like super fast. Right. But then you can't understand what that fucking thing he's saying. But then every now and then he has like a point where he slows down or something and it'll just be some great line. So it really hooks you in,
Yeah.
And it's like, I understood that. And then it's back to not understanding. Right. So I told him, I'm like, dude, at the end, I said, it's so great. I said, I need your CDs. I got to be able to read the lyrics and everything. So he gave me the CDs and the lyrics are in there, but they're written not like a normal like poem or whatever. It's just across the whole page, like this. Like the whole line across from one side to the other. Yeah. And so it's like, I almost have to write it. I'm going to have to like write it all down so I could it's just hard to read it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough.
But he just spewing hatred and vitriol.
That's good. That's a good thing.
No, I fucking loved it. I loved them. But they're not a touring band. That's the first that we got them out of Florida for the first time ever.
Yeah,
we did the Gulf Coast, and I think they like got rid of 2 guys after that because that's what usually happens when a band is just a band and they go on tour. After that, people are going to go to the wayside because certain people can't handle the road and all that.
It's hard. Yeah, it's not for everybody.
Especially when you get older, you got kids and a wife. We started out, we were 21 or whatever. We didn't have kids or anything.
Right.
We just we didn't give a fuck. My whole life changed, you know what I mean?
I know.
Once we just dove all in and went all in on it, and that was it. Too late to change anything now. But I'm happy where I am.
Listen, man, this has been a fucking great episode, man. We've gone an hour and 45 minutes, man. I can't believe it, man. Yeah, I've literally talked my voice until it's literally gone.
I forgot. Man. I forgot. I forgot that I should have stopped earlier.
I've accomplished what I've wanted to accomplish and proved to my viewers yet again, man, that there's nothing I won't do in the name of entertainment, man. Even almost losing my voice, man. But you've thankfully carried a lot of the episode, man, which is super helpful, man. But it was really an honor, man, and I'm glad we're in touch now, man. I'd love to do this again, man. So maybe before you guys go out when you guys get back from your tour, we'll jump on here and we'll do it again, man.
Back from our next year, we're starting the world tour, but yeah, we come back every few weeks.
Yeah. I mean, we're in touch on Facebook now or whatever, man. Yeah, I'd love to do it again, man. I'm a huge fan, man. This was really an honor, man. I appreciate you being so generous with your time, man.
And it's good to have your life planned out for you by Spike, and the whole tour booked and all that. You don't have to worry. It's like, oh my God, what are we going to do?
I know.
It's like, Spike's already got it all figured out. So I'm excited about, doing just the whole fucking world tour again. It's amazing.
It is awesome. It
is. Last year we started out in Australia and New Zealand, and then we came back, and I think we did South America. No, I don't think we did. South America was the year before. We do that like every 2 to 3 years, Mexico and South America and all that.
Yeah.
Which is also really fun. That'll be a whole nother story. Another podcast.
Yeah. You save some stories for the next time. That's all, man. I get
what it's like to go down to South America.
Yeah. Don't drink the water. Or maybe do drink the water.
That's Mexico.
Not Mexico. Yeah. Well, listen, Kurt, it was really an honor, man. I appreciate the hell out of you doing this, man. Thank you so much, man.
When is it going to appear?
Oh, I'll have it up in the next day or two for sure. Yeah. As soon as I put it up, I'll send you the link, man, and you can share it around wherever, on the page, whatever, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Have a good night, man. Thank you very much for
inviting
me
man.
on your podcast.
Yeah, listen, man. You know, thank you for doing it, man. I mean, you know, as a fan for so many years, this is always a thrill, man. When I get to have guys on here that who have been in my ears for so long, man. So it really.
And Drew's podcast will be the next one. So
yeah, I look forward to that. Yeah, I watch his all the time, man. He does a great job, man. Appreciate you so much, Kurt. Really, right, man. Yeah, thanks, care, brother. Man. Yeah, good talking to you, brother. Later.
Bye.
Later. There he goes, folks. Your boy has done it once again, delivered another legend, even with a fucked up throat. That is the legendary KURT BRECHT, the frontman for D.R.I, a.k.a. Dirty Rotten Imbeciles, for fuck's sake, man, with the most iconic fucking logo in the history of fucking metal, bar none, man. I compared it to the Nike Swish or the McDonald's fucking arches, man, and I stand by that, man. What a great conversation, man. And I got to say, the first guest ever who I was about to end the interview with who said, hey, where are you fucking going in such a hurry? Let's do a little more. So we fucking did another fucking 45 minutes. You're fucking welcome. And by the way, thank you for Kurt for suggesting it. I'm dying to wear my fucking voice out, man, especially talking to a fucking legend, man. If he's down, I'm fucking down, man. So there's no fucking way that episode wasn't fucking hardcore in every single way fucking possible. And now I truly am out of fucking voice. So I will just end this thing by again thanking the legendary KURT BRECHT, frontman for D.R.I, the legendary D.R.I, and remind you guys again to like and follow PodScum on Facebook and to like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell to stay tapped in. And now your boy is going to go nurse his fucking throat back to health, but not before telling you guys my credo, and it is the same as it was last year. New year, same old fucking slogan, and that is, remember to take it easy and keep it sleazy.